U.S. President Donald Trump's order banning citizens of 12 countries from entering the United States took effect today. At Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, people were seen walking out of an airport terminal just after the ban took effect. Meanwhile, at Miami International Airport, at least one passenger was seen hugging loved ones on arrival hours before the ban took place. Around that time, a flight from Cuba, one of the countries partially restricted under the order, had landed. The countries affected by the latest travel ban are Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan and Yemen. The entry of people from 7 other countries, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone and Togo, amongst others, will be partially restricted. The travel ban forms part of Trump's policy to restrict immigration into the United States and is reminiscent of a similar move in his first term when he barred travelers from 7 Muslim-majority nations. All right, let's now bring in our U.S. correspondent, in fact, Kate Fisher, live for us in Washington. Kate, a very good afternoon to you. So just speak to us. I mean, the ban did take effect today, and as we have been reporting, certain people have been arriving in some airports, as well as partially banned planes from countries that are partially banned also landing. I can see you are in an airport. Speak to us about where you are and what you're currently seeing on the ground.
Yeah, I'm at Washington Dulles International Airport, the main international airport for the US capital, where all the international flights arrive. Although this morning, if you look at the arrivals board, there isn't actually one of these 19 countries in total expected to arrive this morning. So scenes of kind of the usual joy of people getting off the plane and greeting each other because they are not from countries that are under this ban. And of course, that's very different from what we saw during Donald Trump's first term when he implemented the now so-called Muslim ban targeting people from predominantly Muslim countries. He did that immediately. It went into immediate effect, which caused chaos at airports in the US because people had no notice and they were landing here and being immediately detained because their visas were suddenly not valid. Whereas this time round, he's given people, citizens of these countries, several days to plan about this, and it's meant that things have not been quite as chaotic. He's also learned from his first term about the wording of the legal wording of these bans, and they will be much more robust now. The first time round, he was challenged several times in court. Experts say that this time round, the wording and so on is much more robust and unlikely to be overturned by courts. But certainly for those people in those countries who want to come here now, it's very, very difficult to get a visa. Only small exceptions for people with green cards or who are working for the United Nations, or indeed are athletes who will be competing in the World Cup or the Olympics.
Yeah, and I mean, just talking about several countries that are expected there, we do understand, of course, in as far as those world championships are concerned, there is obviously some leeway for those sportsmen to then enter the country. But is there a sense of fear around many of those citizens from the countries that have been partially banned or even banned in total? Just give us a sense in terms of just the reaction around this.
Yeah, absolutely there is. The African Union has already responded on this, saying about its concerns. And I think anyone that is on a visa here or is from one of these countries is going to feel concerned, given that this is just an example of a much wider immigration crackdown that Donald Trump is implementing in his second term. This is one of his policies, but we've also seen mass deportations, the end of most refugee programs, an attempt to end birthright citizenship, deploying troops to the southern border, and then these kind of deployment of the National Guard in California over the weekend when immigration agents were trying to arrest immigrants. So a huge number of things that Donald Trump is doing in his second term, and this is just one of them, and I think it's one of many things that will be really worrying people who live in the United States and were not born here or are on a visa that they're worried about the future of, because we don't know what the next move could be from the administration. It certainly adds to a real atmosphere of worry and anxiety for people who may have lived here for many, many years and are now worried about what their future could hold.
Kate, thank you so much for that update. Kate Fisher, who is live for us in Washington in the U.S. And of course, as she says, those sweeping immigration crackdowns happening also across the U.S., particularly when you look at that violence happening in California. A crowd there talking about the withdrawal or the deployment, rather, of the National Guard troop, arguing that it is causing the escalation tensions and calling for Trump to withdraw those troops. But we'll keep you then abreast of those developments in the U.S.